From this video, you're gonna be learning the following typical themes of the caro-kann. How to get a smooth setup and organize a mating attack in the Tartakower variation. How to avoid white's traps in the advanced variation. How to put pressure on your opponent by simply having a better pawn structure. And at the end of the video, we'll be dealing with the isolated queen's pawn's possession arising from the Panov attack. Opponent opens up with e4. We're gonna be going for the caro-kann. d4, d5. Let's see, it's gonna be a classical one. When they play knight d2, it's kind of the same as knight c3. Some super small details. Yeah, if you're not a professional, you don't really need to bug yourself with it. But let's just say when they play knight d2, they've got an additional option of mating g6 setups with this pawn move to c3. But again, that's like super in-depth. You don't really need to be familiar with this. Yeah, super tiny details. And against the classical one, we're usually gonna be playing the Tartakower variation during the speedrun, and he might be playing the most theoretical line with c3. And if I go bishop d6, their plan is to do this and try to go for long castle. So I think a pretty clever sideline to avoid that is to play bishop f5. The question is, do you guys want to see a VAP move or a bit of a theoretical debate after bishop d6? I think we're going for the theoretical debate for now. So we see bishop d3, gonna be castling, really expecting queen c2. Okay, we see bishop e3. Kind of happy to see that. We're gonna be activating the rook. Okay, now queen c2 now, so it's a bit of a different move order, hitting the pawn, and we're gonna be going for the new line because in this position h6 used to be the old line, g6 as well used to be played, but it's known that white is getting decent attack after h4, h5. I think if you're looking at this super in-depth with the computer, maybe you can make one of these like older moves playable. We might be doing that on the channel at some point, but for now we're gonna be sticking with the super standard theory by nowadays standards by playing h5. And they have a choice between castling or playing knight e2 with short castle, so we'll see. I'm trying to think because yeah, maybe h4 is a good move. The thing is, if they castle in some lines, you're supposed to bring this knight in this fashion. I think I have many ways of playing it, but might start with knight d7. I think knight d7 is like the most natural move in the position. And in case of long castle, we're playing knight f8. He goes short. Might be going for the same thing. Is he ever blocking me with h4? I don't really think so, but that's kind of a nice move to throw in. This h4. It's usually played. They can block it. They can also ignore it, I think. And now just knight f8. Can develop like queen c7. Goes b4. We're getting to pretty interesting lines. I think bishop is okay placed on e6. Maybe even on d7 could be in some lines. It's not like that bad. I'll start queen c7. I feel like it's a bit more flexible. I'm not sure what to do with this bishop just yet, so we can delay that decision for a bit. Goes a4. Maybe bishop e6 now. Just rook d8 on the next move. Opponent playing really quickly. And so far I think he made all the good moves. We see rook b1 preparing to play c4 so that the pawn will be defended. Do we want to go a5? He's most likely going to answer it with b5, but then maybe c5 is like a good move. Like dc, bishop takes on c5. Because I don't want to give him like the free roll with c4, c5 and b5. Maybe that's like not too bad either. Could also be using this ideas in some positions. I think I'll just play this because it's pretty natural, and on c4 might be playing queen c8, making room for this bishop and also keeping ideas to sack. I'm just trying to stay flexible. If they play c5, we get a d5 square. Playing a bit of a waiting game. I think he should play something like knight f4 now, but that's actually not working because we can take it, and yeah, then we... I was about to say that we can take it and then the pawn on d4 remains undefended. So now I think on b5, the bishop sack might be incredibly dangerous. And so they have to like pawn take, queen take, knight f4, but there's queen g4 and we win. And like bishop f4, same motif. I think you can just sack the bishop and we get a winning position. Okay, I think we're having an amazing position right now. This is big frat among other things. Also taking on g2 could be considered a frat. So I think he has to take. He's not. I find this to be the most forcing line with queen h3. Okay, but if I take on g2, maybe he has bishop f5, so we need to be a bit careful. So yeah, like this, g3 only move, but then queen f3 and that's GG. Yeah. Alright. I mean, from a normal position to a mating attack in like 3 moves. That's why we love to play the Tartakower line, I guess. Okay, he's trying g3, but we've got many moves. Just pawn g3 is easiest, and f3, queen h4. Everything is hanging. Rook, bishop hanging. I mean, king is also problematic. Okay, we see resignation. I think that was actually a pretty good game. I don't know. I might be wrong on that. Let's check it with the engine. Because it felt like really smooth. And it's normally not this smooth. So that feels kind of nice. Yeah, queen c8 I think was a nice move. And boom, bishop takes on h3 and it's just a win. Ooh, I missed queen f3, but I said queen g4, queen f3. I think I showed that on the board and then I just forgot about it. That was funny. But okay, still a win. Opponent opens up with e4. Time to go for the caro-kann and see what they have in mind. It looks like it's the advanced line and they're rushing with this hyper-aggressive g4 move. Just gonna be doing my line. Bishop e4, we have played that in this rating climb so far, and the trick is to play queen d6 in this position. After the thematic pawn sack, you just want to avoid positions where you're taking and then this bishop might never see the light of the day. So yeah, I think this one is pretty nice, and generally the idea is to castle long and break with e5. And if white is not careful, black might just be getting a much better position even. So it's definitely a very double-edged line. I think maybe it could be decent as a surprise weapon from white's perspective, but yeah, I'm not sure if more than that. See, knight h3, pretty logical move with that idea. I think knight d7 might be the move. Could also go e5 directly. But e5 he has queen e2 and then bishop f4, so I don't like it. And maybe on bishop f4 could even go check and collect that pawn. That might be doable as well. So I think on bishop f4, yeah, we just go there. And if they go knight g5, trying to stop us from castling, then maybe just simply bishop g6 is a good move, followed by e5, or like even h6. It's not like easy to develop as white. You see that my play is like pretty straightforward, and as white is definitely not that simple. It's like not clear how you want to castle. Like, first of all, like the most important thing in chess, maybe, how do you want to like castle your king? Not clear at all. what white has in mind here. a3, he clearly wants bishop f4 without allowing this check. But I think we can start with castling and meet it with e5. I think that's the plan. Yep. The could also play rook e8, but I think just knight takes is fine. Yeah, this is gonna be like huge frat and a lot of discoveries in the air. So knight g5. We have knight e3 as a nice move, taking the bishop. Do we have rook e8 though? With the idea to play for the discovery, like knight d3, king d2, queen f4, I think that's doable. Gonna play rook e8, a really nice aesthetic move. Come on, take that. You fork everything, but you're lost. That is pretty funny. Maybe he has some kind of bishop e2, but that loses to knight f3 actually, and then we take. That is kind of the danger that you're running when this line is not working out. You might just be getting like losing positions from the opening as white, which is not really that fun. Wow, he allows the discovery. But like, first of all, I think he's trying to trick me. Maybe I don't have a good follow-up, but the thing is I'm not even forced to play that, so pretty sure that this should be a good move. Followed by king f2, queen c5, queen e3, and then just take his knight. So gonna do just that. This is only move. Yeah, this is like simplest. He's gonna be taking, but we can simply take this knight. We are up a pawn. He refuses to take, but probably forgot that the knight moves also backwards. That's easy to miss, I guess, sometimes. But yeah, the thing was, if they take the knight, whatever to go queen e3, pick up the knight, and have completely winning position because his king is just too weak. And now we also get the extra knight, which kind of helps. Opponent plays h4. Tempted to do something like that, but just gonna be keeping it super simple with knight e4. I just want to take his bishop next. I'll start with this though. You have g5, knight g3. Yep, just taking that. Here we see queen takes, just playing knight e4, that was the idea. Hitting the queen. This is also kind of coming next. Give me that pawn. We check, and king h3, bishop e6 will almost be mate. Okay, this is like kind of clean. And rook e2. Defending, opening up rook's path, and on queen g4 we have bishop e6 blocking. Here rook is coming over, and we're not even gonna play for the endgames now. We're just going for the mate. Maybe he's got king f1. That's just still running into checkmate. Finally we develop. Finally feels good finishing development. Bishop e6 and rook h2 should do the job. And do we have some kind of fancy mate? Like you see mate in one, look for better. Okay, just go there. And queen h3 will have a nice queen e2 and queen g4 mate, but never mind. Your opponent doesn't wanna re. Let's go g6. If that, we have bishop mate. And if king there, it's gonna be bishop mate anyways. I think that's the classiest mate. Come on, dude, make a move. Allow me to checkmate with a bishop. He just lets his clock run down. Fine by me. I don't want to make it bigger than that, so it's fine. I think, yeah, we're gonna be getting games quicker now. So opponent opens up with e4. Gonna be playing the ultra solid caro-kann defense. Let's see. We see knight c3. Potentially we could be getting the two knights, but we see take switch is not amazing combined with this knight c3 move, because we just transpose back into the exchange variation, which most commonly comes via this move order. But we've got it through knight c3. Gonna be playing knight c6, just developing normal, knight f6, bishop g4, e6. Just following the standard stuff. Yeah, just e6 against bishop e3. Bishop b5, that is also like super common for this rating ranges, I believe. The trick is when they play h2 will have to take. That is pretty important. Bishop d6. Now actually it might be an idea to go there, because I'm not sure how big of a threat g4 will be, because on knight e5 we'll have bishop takes on e5 and then knight d7. There could potentially still be f4 as an annoying move. So yeah, this one would be the easiest way to deal with it. Definitely if you take on f3 in this position, it's perfectly fine. Like if this bishop was on e2, I don't really mind that, just bishop h5 always. But if we go immediately, he might be getting some pressure onto this knight. I don't think he really minded there, but I think just for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna be taking on f3 and then just getting our king to safety. And next up, I think we want to do something like rook c8, activating the rook, followed by pushing the pawns in the minority attack fashion. So opponent plays knight e2, and his idea is to actually play this pawn move to c3 so that he'll be able to bring back the bishop and try to claim that the two bishops should provide him with a small advantage in this structure. So for this reason, we're starting with a6. So on bishop d3, we can actually hunt that bishop with knight b4, which wouldn't have really been the case if he had managed to get the pawn to c3 in time. But yeah, he simply won't get that, and once we manage to grab that bishop, we have full equality. Now, because of the damaged pawn structure, we might be even slightly better. I think we're gonna start with the most natural move, rook c8, occupying the open file, also considering queen b6, but yeah, the thing is, like rook c8, what do we do in case of bishop g5? That could be a little bit of an annoying pin. It's not really like threatening to take, because we would love to trade queens after queen takes on f6 and all those typical endgames, but at some point we want to leave with a queen. We don't want to have it on d8 forever, and it's gonna be tricky with that pin, so we might have to play bishop e7. Yeah, I think that's like reasonable. If bishop g5, just bishop e7 followed by queen d7. I think that that is doable. Most likely, yeah, he plays something like rook c1, and I could start queen b6, but then he goes b4. So I like queen d7 a bit better. I'm stumbling across this idea of going queen b5, hitting both pawns, and against that I just wanted to step back, defending. This is still one of my ideas. Could also trade both rooks on the c file, and yeah, just play that endgame. I think we will be pressing with the slightly better pawn structure. I think objectively white might be able to draw that endgame, but I think it might be interesting to see if they are able to play proper defense in this rating ranges. Now we've got a little bit of an idea with queen c2. Okay, so he takes, but this is not a good move, because I'm assuming he's planning knight h5, but that's actually allowing me to take, so it's not a good move. He probably has to just Either go queen e3 or knight e2. But I think both moves can be met with queen c2. It goes to g4. So if we take, he might be looking forward to play knight takes on e6. But we have bishop takes on b2 and he has to move the knight, but we've got like a winning endgame, I think. So I think that should be pretty clean. On bishop takes, knight d5, we've got like queen c1 followed by bishop e5 check. He's got f4 as a move, but bishop d6, knight f6 check, king h8 should be safe. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that. I trust my calculation, but if you can't really feel what is going on in these lines, you could have definitely avoided these complications. So I'm expecting this move to be played. That should not be critical. It's not really threatening anything. If I take on b2 though, I think he might be looking forward to play d4, closing my bishop, and he's got the one move threat. Maybe that is defendable. I think I found an interesting idea, but not sure how good it is. I'm thinking bishop takes on b2, d4, and then giving a check followed by queen h6. But then like maybe queen g3 is a bit annoying, and it's not easy for me to defend against the mate, although I have bishop takes on a3 in that position, I think. And like against the check I have bishop f8, and if he takes I've got queen h5 with a winning endgame. So I think maybe we can risk it here. Again, you don't have to go for this super concrete complications, but if I can calculate my way out of them, then it totally makes sense to grab. Yeah, giving a check, bringing queen back. And yeah, like queen g3, I think this is the move. Not an easy move to find. Because like queen g3 can be problematic if he's infiltrating. Like we can pretty much create no luft, and yeah, this is what I had in mind. Queen b8 we can safely put the bishop back, and after queen a3 you can just grab the knight. I don't mind knight g7. Can just take, and the queen endgame was completely winning. And yeah, now this guy is attacked, expecting like knight g3, but we've got like way too many pawns at this point, and he's got like no active threats. Maybe queen f6 is a move, hitting an important pawn on f2, also hitting d4. Yeah, I guess we take the one on f2, making his king a little bit more vulnerable, and then perhaps we could create a luft. Yeah, I can't play bishop d6 yet because of the back ranker. So I could start, okay, I mean bishop d6, never mind, he can take it. So just gonna be taking the pawn on d4. Now we've got like 3 extra pawns in the endgame. Should be a relatively free win. Just gonna be pinning the knight. Now he's got like no moves, and this is going to be a big threat. Okay, we see queen d8. I can still play h5 though. He wants h4, but then like g5 is easiest win when he plays that. And like queen g, trade, bishop d6, take his knight, winning king and pawn endgame. I think that's simplest. Other than that, this is just gonna be ending the game on the next move. So yeah, just g5. He can take with a queen, but that will allow winning endgame for me after bishop d6. Yeah, this is just very simple now. Just bring the bishop, take the knight, bring the king to g6, use the d pawn as a bait and collect the rest of the pawns. Yeah, pushing this guy next, and okay, I'd like to keep my pawn. Taking was also fine, obviously. Okay, opponent resigns. I think that was actually a super clean game, full of unnecessary complications, but hey, there you go. It finally worked out once upon a time. Alright, we're getting the black pieces, and it's gonna be an e4 game, so we're going for the caro, and we see the Pseudo Panov. I think that is what it's called when they play it in this fashion, and what you should be avoiding is taking directly, because white can play knight c3 and gain a tempo. So you wanna be grabbing that pawn, but with a knight. Yes, they have this kind of annoying checks, but we just have to, yeah, pretty much play down a pawn for a little while until we get developed, and big odds to win back that pawn later. From that perspective, black should be fine. Even if we don't win the pawn, we still have good compensation most of the time, so you shouldn't really be worried about us. Okay, I mean, his pawns might look rather weak right now, but it's pretty common, and it normally leads, let's say after knight f6, they normally would play, I think, knight c3, knight takes on d5, pawn d4, and knight f3, and you get positions that are like very thematic. You normally get them from the Alapin Sicilian, you can get it from the e3 Nimzo, from like a lot of openings. It's just a universal pawn structure. So if you're like a fan of playing the IQP, that is probably the line for you as white against the caro. But I have to tell you, like, honestly, as a professional caro-kann player, I always love to see this kind of Panov shit on the board. Okay, it's not really that shitty, but the thing is, it allows black to play for a win, which is kind of nice. See queen b3, we can like regain the pawn as I told you before. Thing is, if we play bishop g4, I can just go knight d4, so, or like even knight e5, so no need to do that. And I think we're just taking with this knight. I think, yeah, keeping that knight on b6 was kind of strange, so definitely this looks like the natural move, and I don't want to take because I'm gonna be improving his pawn structure. Bishop f5 is sort of a natural move. The other one is to push a6 and b5. a6 bishop c4 though. How do we deal with that? It is actually not such an easy position to play. I need to solve the problem of the light squared bishop. Maybe it actually makes sense in some lines to go here, forcing knight e5, and then we can safely go bishop e6. Because if we start with this, knight g5 is annoying, not to mention there's a pretty thematic idea of sacrificing the exchange, so I'm gonna start bishop g4. And against knight e5, just going back was the plan, and this is a threat because he'll have to take back with a queen, and against bishop c4, well, the knight is defended, so we can do many things. So what do we do on bishop c4? Not so clear. Maybe simply rook b8. Also defending the pawn, and maybe at some point pushing b5. That could be a move. Also rook c8 simply could be the trick here, because queen b7 doesn't seem to work after rook c4 followed by knight c3. And rook c8, yeah, taking on d5 is definitely good for me, so I'm gonna do exactly that. This I think is not a good move for my opponent, and I think we're having a pretty good position. Not sure how I would follow it up though. Yeah, maybe you can just play bishop g5 or something like that. I think that is probably the most natural move for white. We should definitely have a lot of ideas. Maybe in some positions, the simple knight c7 might work. Trading some pieces. Like against bishop g5, maybe this is clever. Because after bishop e6, knight takes on e6, he's also hitting the bishop. Not to mention the pawn. Okay, he goes for the slower bishop d2. Can we just go knight c7? Like queen takes on b7, I think. Maybe we just take on c4 and then on d4. And bishop e6, knight e6 should be okay for us. Thing is, we're stepping back with that move and we're not forced to, so for that perspective, I don't like knight c7. Can we play like b5 in some positions? Maybe that's actually not such a bad move. Now that I'm actually considering it. But what if knight b5? Yeah, so b5 maybe just knight take. Could also do maybe like a move such as, okay, queen b6 maybe losing material. Like knight d5 and knight e7. So queen b6 not really a candidate. But like b5 would be fun. Like knight b5. I would love to make that one work somehow, but I don't see a way. Because rook b8 he's got like knight c6. Okay, we need to like make a move. Let's start a6. And I think he plays a4. And after that, maybe we simply play queen d6. Just keeping like a solid position. That seems to be the way. He trades, but this is definitely gonna play out in our favor. Because generally when white has the isolated queen's pawn, their compensation is based on initiative or on attacking play. So heading for the endgames is definitely something that we are looking forward to because we have a better pawn structure obviously. So really happy to see opponent trading, and it's quite likely he'll take on d5, even though rook c1 is possible as well. Maybe rook c1 we have like a cute tactic like rook takes on c4, knight c4, b5. Yeah, actually rook c1 we're winning. Look at this. This is beautiful. And whatever he takes, his queen will be pinned. I think that's pretty beautiful. Losing the knight and with 2 minors for the rook. Position should be objectively winning. Although you never know. Like today there was a game running between Levon Aronian and Jan Nepomniachtchi, and Nepo had the 2 pieces. I'm wondering if Nepo won that game, but I think he had a winning position when I checked. So even at the top level, they get into these situations quite often. So queen e7. Should we trade and take on a2? Because taking on d4 might allow bishop c3. There is still queen b6. Keeping everything defended, so generally I think keeping queens on should be helping us with the pieces. But I think maybe here we can also go like takes, knight d5 kind of business. But like knight d5 we have to be careful because bishop d4 he has b3. Almost trapping my bishop, so I think taking is fine and stepping back with a queen. Also like queen f4 is a move. This looks simplest though. This is somewhat of a threat. Hitting the queen. Now also the bishop. Maybe even knight g4 was promising, hitting the f2 square. But knight d5 felt more natural. And queen h4, probably just take on c3 with the bishop, and because we're also hitting the rook, and yeah, taking a lot of stuff. Opponent probably tried to desperately rook lift, but yeah, just knight f5. We're up to minors, and opponent resigns. Okay, that was pretty good. Thanks a lot for making it this far into the video, and if you're looking for more content, make sure to check out some of the previous episodes from the same series.